Greetings and welcome to my little corner of YouTube. My name is Lindsay Pogue and I am the author of The Savage North Chronicles and The Forgotten and Ruined Lands, and today I am answering the last of my 5 video installments that it was supposed to be one. Which book is my favorite that I've written? As you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I can never pick just one, so you're lucky you got 5 instead of 10. Okay, so let's get started. So, final book that I'm going to talk about in this series is Titan Tempest. She's probably one of the shortest books that I've written I'm laughing because she's over 300 pages, which is not a lot for me because I write really thick books, but I'm just realizing this is probably an average author's length of a book. So anyways, for me, she is small, but she is mighty, and she packs a really big punch. I say she because Samara is the main character, and she is such a badass. And I'm not just talking about that she can slay someone with her axe. I put her through absolute hell in this story, and I couldn't be more proud of her because not only is she strong in all ways that matter, but she's also tenderhearted, and she has been through some shit. And so she's so admirable. She's so courageous in so many ways. Throughout the story, we get a glimpse of what everyday life is like for her people, but also we see some really hard truths and horrible things that happen to them. And one day, some unexpected visitors, we'll call them, arrive, and Samara's life is turned upside down for the 100th time, it seems like. And she is once again forced to essentially get over it and go on with her life. And it's just a really beautiful story in how she does that, and the friends that she makes along the way, and those that she goes to bat for when they need her most. A really interesting thing about this story is when I first thought of this specific book, it was so vivid in my mind. I remember jotting down a ton of notes and scenes that I wanted to have, and character notes of like what everybody looked like and what their situation was and who was going to do this and that. And I remember just like going crazy and putting post-it notes on my wall in my office and on the window, and I had it there for a couple days because I didn't want to forget anything, and I was able to, I don't know, I felt like a frenzy to get the information down, and that doesn't happen all that often. So especially when I think about how I started writing books, it's not the plotting that comes to mind. It's more of like, oh, this character is really, like, I wanted to write a story for this character. And then I start really kind of dwelling on that. But for this story, it was like, I had to get all of this information out of my head. I mean, I remember I think it was the first post-it that I even wrote on was that the main character had a self-inflicted scar on her face. And it was just something that I had to have. And, well, if you've read the book, you know you know. If you haven't read the book, now you know. But you don't know why, which is another kind of crazy idea that came to mind. But it just felt completely necessary as I was plotting and brainstorming. So, yeah, I don't know. I saw this book really vividly, and I wrote it very fast. I should say, I wrote it quickly for how I normally write, because all of it just kept coming out and it felt so natural. And it wasn't just Samara's character either. It was Abraham's, her father's. It was other supporting characters that you meet along the way. They all were very much alive in my mind. And so this story was just really fun. I mean, there was heartbreaking moments. I remember ugly crying when I was writing the scene as she's a little girl and Abraham leaves. My neighbors probably thought I was crazy because sometimes I write in the backyard, and I'm sure that was probably one of the times, because I kind of do remember looking around like, God, I hope nobody's watching me right now. So, other reasons why I absolutely love this. Not only is there a ton of action, the world building, as you know, I love my weather-ravaged worlds, and the lightning and Mother Nature is no joke. And she is vicious, and she's responsible for some of my favorite scenes that I've been able to write, full of tension and excitement and fear. So it was really refreshing also to write this story because I had just come out of writing Dust and Shadow and Earth and Ember, which are very much like, it's desert. It's like it's like those two books are so hot and sandy. That's what comes to mind. And it's like sweaty, whereas this was cold and wet. And I got to revisit the Redwood Forest, which is some place that I love to go here in California. And I got to turn those into like this crazy forgotten land that has been fire scorched for centuries. And what would it look like now if that's how life really was, you know? There's also a very cantankerous donkey companion friend, which is, it was really fun. He's not in a lot of scenes, but he's in enough to where it was really fun to write him as well. Also, I will say that there is, for as much as the story came to me so naturally, Eric was a character that I did not see coming. In fact, I remember writing Samara's story for the first, like, probably 10, maybe 15 chapters. And I was like, he was always going to be in it, but he never had a large role. He was just this bully. But he kept popping up and he kept popping up. And I was like, this guy, why is he so angry? And why is he popping up in all these scenes that I'm writing? And so then I was like, oh my gosh, like it hit me. Like, talk about strike of lightning here. I was like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing with his character. I know why he keeps showing up. And I got so excited. I thought I was excited before, but then my little romantic heart just started like beating out of my chest because I had this amazing enemies to lovers idea. And especially when I realized why he hated her so much, or thought he hated her so much, or she thought he hated her so much. Yeah. So anyways, if you like a lot of action, this is like I said, this is a smaller book, but there is a lot going on. And the really cool thing about this book, if you have read any of the other Forgotten Lands books, is we kind of get to see other cultures through here as well, because the raiders are on ships and they sail all over the place. So that's also a fun little thing that I got to add in here. And I will say this, and I don't think a lot of people know this. In my head, I had this story that I had told myself it had to be about people going underground and living in the tunnels. That's just what it was supposed to be that way from the very beginning. And I didn't want to write that. I don't know why. I wasn't ready, I guess, but I wasn't feeling it. So I kept like kind of hemming and hawing about this third book and about what I wanted to do. And then I suddenly was like, Lindsay, you're an author, a storyteller. You can tell whatever story you want. It doesn't have to be what you originally planned 3 books ago. So yeah, what do you want to write? And then as soon as I gave myself that sort of permission, this story came to mind and I was so excited. It even has a little Viking vibes to it. So I think that was really exciting for me because I love watching and reading Viking stuff, but I have never written anything myself because I've never really created a world where I could. But since this is based off of cultures in San Francisco before the shift and everything, San Francisco is a city of so many cultures and so many types of people that it's like, why couldn't there be people from, Anyways, I digress. Great read. Definitely a reader favorite. People tend to really love Samara, so I hope that you enjoy her story as much as I absolutely loved writing it. She's also available in all formats: audiobook, paperback, ebook, available on my direct bookstore if you would like to buy directly from me, or you can get it at your favorite retailer, wherever you like to buy your audiobooks, paperbacks, etc. Okay? So, until next time, I'm Lindsay Pogue. Thank you so much for your questions. Be sure to leave some in the comments if you would like me to add them to my list of what to answer next. And I will see you next time. Until then, happy reading adventures.